be with the kids right now,
Mm-hmm.
particularly our 12 and our 14-year-old.
Mm-hmm.
And so, yeah, there was a little bit of stress, frustration, whatever about that. So you might have been picking up on that. You
Gotcha.
know, we've, that's been a source of confusion lately, I guess.
Yeah. How are you guys dealing with the whole going to school from home thing and everything that's going into that?
Well, it's been an evolution for us. I mean, it's funny how much things have changed in 2 months.
Yeah.
Well, I guess maybe it's been more than that now, but we, I think where we've landed is, we've decided for now that it's time for us to let them take responsibility for their own school success,
Mm-hmm.
or not.
Mm-hmm.
I think a variety of things we've been reading and listening to, we've just kind of come to the conclusion that it's not actually our job to make them successful.
Okay.
And really our only responsibility is to create a safe space for them and to be supportive for them. But the whole like checking in on their grades every week and having consequences for, well, you've got a D in this class, and so now you're losing your phone for whatever, you know, like coming up with consequences to try to manipulate their behavior.
Mm-hmm.
Instead, we've just sort of landed on, they need to figure it out themselves. They're either going to care, or they're either going to find some motivation, or they're not.
Mm-hmm.
And there's probably some natural consequences along the way that are going to teach them, you know,
Okay.
probably better than us hassling them, you know.
Yeah.
But I still get caught up in it, you know, because I think I get caught up in the fear. Oh God, you know, she's a freshman, and if she fails her classes this term, what is that going to mean, you know? And I just start going off on these stories that are not necessarily true or real, right? So, I mean, my wife and I both do that, and we're just finally at this point where we're like, you know, there's no way for me to know if she's going to ruin her life. She's probably not. She's a bright kid.
Right.
All of our kids are smart, you know, like, and so we've been trying to shift gears there, but it's tough because our egos still go to this place of, yeah, they're fucking up their life, and it's going to blow back on us. And, you know, and it's, and we get scared for them. But I realize those are just ego stories mostly, you know. If I want to be a good parent, I want my kids to have good grades, honor roll, you know, and whatever. Yeah. And the reality is I wasn't an honor roll student, and I turned out okay.
Well, we always want the best for our kids. We want to see them succeed, and we stress out when they're not doing as well as we hope they will. You want the best for them. You want them to get into good colleges. You want them to have good careers, good family lives as they get older. And so I mean, it's natural, but to kind of hold yourself back and allow them to be responsible for the decisions that they're making, that could be tough. That could be really tough. I hope you and your wife are finding a place of being able to come together and support each other in supporting your children as they go on this journey on their own.
We are. That's the good part. I mean, we've definitely been sort of on the same path together, you know, the way we're thinking about it and approaching it. Like I said, lately, a lot of it's been informed by this gal, Byron Katie, I think I told you about. We've been reading a lot of her stuff and her process of inquiry.
Yeah.
And so that's been helpful.
Good. Chris, let's talk about this month, June, as we're going into it. What are your top 3 priorities for June? Shifting gears.
Top 3 priorities for June is, what's that?
Shifting gears on you.
Yeah, no, that's good. Top 3 priorities for June. I want to get one more practice client started.
Okay.
And I want to get the business like truly up and running, you know, and ready for my first paying client, which I feel like I'm close. There's a few just process steps that I need to finish putting together. Like we were talking about bank accounts, right? I need that. And like, I just paid you out of one of my personal accounts. So I feel like I got to have a call with my CPA to find out, okay, I want to make sure I've got the money moving from the right areas. So I need to set up my accounting, make sure I've documented all the expenditures I've had so far for the business and not lose track of that stuff. So I want to get on top of that.
Okay.
Get sort of the business administrative side dialed.
Yeah.
And then I guess my third priority is I really need to fill. I mean, now we're kind of moving into the reopening phase, and I've got to fill my calendar, and I've got to up my performance at Belfour, you know, so I ensure my runway is secure here.
Right.
You know, it's where things are opening up. So I've got to shift gears and really build out a strong June in terms of my prospecting and revenue for Belfour. I got to jumpstart that. And so I need to sit down here in the final days of the month and of May, and I'd like to calendar out sort of what my LinkedIn strategy is for the month of June.
Okay.
But anyway, so Belfour success is my other kind of third priority. So it's admin setup. It's getting a second practice client for 3 hats, and then it's Belfour success, right? I got to get some meetings. I got to get a full month of appointments and events and meetings.
Yeah. Okay. So that's your top 3 priorities overall. And my next question is, what are your top team and business priorities? So I feel like these are going to trickle right in from the previous question. Is there something else that stands out to you as far as a top priority for your business or for your team, for your business?
Yeah, I think well, I think the top priority is to get another practice client. I just want to get more comfortable in my skin in these conversations. And I also, so something that's been percolating in the back of my mind has just been what, I mean, you ask this during S3 all the time. And that is, well, not all the time, but it comes up in S3. What is, every coach comes with kind of their own niche, right? You're an executive sales coach.
Yep.
I feel like I'm still working that stuff out, even as I start to work with Bryson, you know, like, and where Bryson wants to take the conversations and stuff. I've just been thinking a lot about that. And I think that's bound to change, right? As I get clients, like clients are just they're going to go where they're going to go. But there's also a part of me, there's certain kinds of work that I really am drawn to that I want to do. And I'm trying to flesh out how that's going to look or what that's going to be like. If that's merely like you have your coaching prep forms, like I was considering the fact that I could build kind of my own forms that sort of draw attention maybe to the areas of business that I want to have a niche in. You know what I mean? So like, for a long, long time, I've been really passionate about customer experience and sort of, helping businesses transform their customer experience and their service delivery. Really just from an executive mindset, kind of how to think about customer experience from a leader's perspective, not necessarily frontline customer service, but how do you cast a vision? How do you create vision around the kind of customer experience offering, you know, whether it's hospitality guest experience or any other sort of service company. right?
Yeah.
How do we think about guest experience and customer experience, and how do you change it? How do you move your team? How do you get your team rallied around your vision for customer experience? Anyway, so I've had a lot of ideas percolating around that. I think it's an emerging area, especially as we come out of this COVID crisis. Like, a lot of companies are thinking about, God, what do I do?
Yeah.
What do we do to recapture revenue for this year and save our revenue? What do we need to do in our business to gain back market share? You know what I mean? Like, a lot of people are thinking, what do I do? And I think customer experience can be a really concrete path to growth and other stuff. So how do you think about that? So I'm trying to think, how do I weave that into the business? Is just one of my things on offer, and as it comes up, I can help people in those areas? Or is it something that I'm more that I lead with in some way, that I don't know. So I don't know that I'm at the point where I'm like, I want to be a customer experience coach. That's a pretty narrow niche that I think, without a conversation, I don't know. So in terms of priority for this month, like business and team, I still want to continue clarifying how is it I'm going to coach, because I really love the framework you have, but there are some things that I think I want to spend time on, that I'm trying to figure out how to incorporate it in my work. Because I've gotten some feedback even recently, like from my boss. I wrote a sort of debrief memo from a job that we did that I felt like we could have performed a lot better and differently on.
Yeah.
And I sent him an email, and it was really helpful to him. And he's like, man, because I used to do this for him all the time at Summit. Like, I would send these after action reviews where I would just kind of distill down, okay, here's what happened. Here's what I think it means. Here's the questions I have about it. What if next time we did it this way instead of that way? What would the outcome be for the customer? And these after action reviews were really valuable to him. And I hadn't done one in a while, and I did one for this job I was involved in. And he's like, dude, he called me up because he knows I'm coaching, and he knows I'm trying to prepare a business because he's doing the same thing. And he said, dude, you need to offer this to businesses. Like, this is valuable. Like, it's valuable in terms of coaching team. It's valuable in terms of upping standards. And he said, ultimately, I feel like this is the crux of us. Like, these kinds of things, how we show up to a job site has a direct impact on whether we're going to get the growth that we need and want, and get the kind of people on our team that we want. He's like, this is awesome. So since he was saying that, that kind of brought all of that back up to the surface, because I kind of tamped it down. It's like, okay, I don't need to worry about any of this niche stuff or like what I'm going to consult or anything else. But as I went through the process of writing that brief and then talking with him afterwards, I was like, yeah, because some things just feed you. Like, you just have certain things inside you that you love to work on and think about. And that's one of those things I really love. So I'm trying to figure out, how do I integrate that? Do I lead with that in some way? Because I think there is a narrative I could lead with that. I think there is a direct connection to revenue and sales.
Yeah. Can we brainstorm for a second?
Mm-hmm.
You have a lot of contacts in the hospitality industry, don't you, Chris?
I do.
Like executive level, general manager level?
Yeah, no, very high level owners and GMs. And
Is there a reason that you can't offer a professional coaching and consulting business where perhaps you're coaching the owner or the general manager or the CEO of a hotel here locally? Not only that, so that's coaching, but not only that, you offer a consulting practice that's kind of like a secret shopper, where you charge a certain amount and you go and you stay at that hotel. And then after you stay at that hotel for a couple of days, you write a report, an after action report about your stay as an expert and what they can work on, from the front desk to housekeeping to the bellhop so you can give them like this very critical report as a part of the consulting business.
I've thought about that exact iteration, and I think it'd be really fun, and
Mm-hmm.
I think I could do very, very well and offer a lot of value that way.
Mm-hmm.
What I need to vet out right now is, will hotel operators spend money on that?
Well, what do they
Uh,
spend money on?
well, they're spending money on, I mean, the operators that I've been talking to right now, they're not spending a whole lot of money on anything at the
No, I
moment
know.
except cleaning products.
Right, right.
No, but you're right. No, long term though. I mean, long term, yeah, dude. I think there's great opportunity there, and I do have some connections, quite a few connections that I think I could begin with, no doubt. Like that's a market that I really like.
Mm-hmm.
And so, and I've got a few, like there's 4 or 5 people that come to mind that are more personal connections to me. Like I've developed real relationship with them.
Yeah.
4 or 5 customers that I can approach them and say, hey, I'm thinking about doing this. I could even sort of test the waters with them.
Mm-hmm.
You know, is that a service that you would find valuable? You know, based on your experience with me,
Mm-hmm.
generally, if I had this kind of offering, right, is that something you'd be interested in talking about? You know, and just kind of test market a little bit.
Yeah.
I can think of 1, 2, 3 or 4 operators, you know, that I could go to. Yeah.
Yeah.
Oh yeah, I
They'd
just
have
need one.
to, the staff, nobody would be able to know that you're coming. You'd have to
Yeah.
pay just like a normal customer. Of course, the
Yeah.
hotel would end up paying your invoice, and that would cover the cost of your hotel stay and any expenses while you're there, plus your per day fee of $1,000 or something like that. So if you stay there, you get paid your $2,000 plus all of your expenses or whatever, but they would have
Yeah.
no idea that you're coming, and you have to provide them within like 7 days an after action report with all of your recommendations and the areas they need to work on. And maybe that turns into you doing group trainings with the staff or something, you know what I mean? Like group coaching, group training, and you're working with the CEO one-on-one as an executive coach.
Yeah. Yeah. I like the sound of that. Yeah.
Mhm.
Yeah. That, I mean,
You could easily
frankly, I think I'd
combine
be really good.
you could
What's that?
easily combine the 2 services in one
Yeah.
practice, because there's a difference between what I do as a coach and what I do as a sales trainer and what I do when I outsource myself to do sales. They're different services, and LinkedIn lead gen.
Yeah.
These are all different services, but they're all related. So if 3 hats is about going out and meeting with hospitality business owners and maybe even later cruise lines and some of these other things where you're coming in like a private detective, wearing your hat and your glasses and your mustache so nobody knows who you are, with your trench coat and showing up, and then giving this after action report,
Yeah.
right? and,
Yeah.
and and you're working with the CEO, and you're doing group training to help them understand how to approach customers better and to see their job differently and to be a part of the team in a bigger way. And I can't imagine that businesses would not have money for that kind of stuff. In the
Right.
restaurant industry, it's my understanding that if a customer returns to your restaurant 3 times, you have a customer for life.
Mm.
Not just once,
Yeah.
not twice. They've got to come back 3 times and you'll have a customer for life.
Yeah.
Mhm.
Yeah. Yeah. Dude, I like that picture you're painting. That's, you know, it's funny. You have certain things, right, that when you think about doing them, you're
Mhm.
like, shit, if I could do that, I could do that forever. Right. Like that's something
Yeah.
that I could just constantly do, because I mean, it's funny. I have blog posts that I've written 8 years ago, 10 years ago about this subject, customer experience,
There
right?
you go. Yeah.
How, like, how to leverage a bad customer review online, right,
Mhm.
into business transformation and growth. Like how can you take those after action review bits,
Yeah.
right, doing a post-mortem on customer experience and really unpacking what the customer's feeling. How do we make the customer feel? Like there's this whole framework kind of emerging in my mind of compliance thinking versus sales thinking when it comes to customer experience. and
Mm-hmm.
leveraging both of those mindsets, you know, to coach and train your team on how to think about customer. Right? So I would love doing that work. Yeah.
Mm-hmm. You may end up having courses on the Thinkific platform at some point.
Maybe. Yeah. Yeah. So I want to get clear. I'm feeling motivated to dive deeper on that subject. So
Mm-hmm.
like I put out just an off the cuff video on LinkedIn, that just started playing with this. And I'm just thinking, I'm going to start, I think, recording maybe some audio library of just my thoughts, of just getting some of these concepts down.
Yes.
Just to feed into that, because I just feel a lot of energy in it, you know,
Mm-hmm.
and see where that goes. I've got a car dealership. I've got a contact at a car dealership locally that I'm planning on reaching out to him. I used to work at this dealership. I know his dad, and he took over his dad's dealership and stuff like that. And so, I don't think I'm not going to burn him as a practice client, but I thought I might have kind of a coffee chat with him, just to feel him out, see where he's at. Like, are they suffering like all the other car dealerships, or could they tend to be a real debt averse business, so they might be doing fine,
right,
living on reserves and whatnot.
Yeah.
So that was one of my next moves too. I'm intrigued. I hate working in the car business, but I'm intrigued by the car business. There's so much opportunity for customer experience transformation.
Yeah. Heck yeah.
So that was one thing also in June that I was planning to do, in addition to the practice client, was getting my first couple coffee chats on the books.
Mm-hmm.
Again, teeing up the plan of having my first paid client maybe in July would be the goal.
Okay.
But I can use those coffee chats to kind of feel out some of the demand, some of the need for, you know, how am I going to present, basically, how am I going to present myself when it comes to the presentation step?
Yeah.
You know, in a consultation, when I get ready to have my first paid consult, you know?
Yeah. Heck yeah. So as far as top business priorities, one more practice client for 3 hats, clarify how you're going to coach, and then get first couple of coffee chats on the books, first paid client for July.
Okay. I like that time. Yeah.
Okay. Let's look at goals. Top 3 goals. Now, to be clear, there's a difference between priorities and goals. Priority could be, oh, I need to work on my health. A goal would be, I will lose 3 pounds by the last day of June. Specific, measurable, attainable. What's R? Resource bound, timely. I don't know. It doesn't matter. But the point is specific.
Is it reasonable? Is reasonable one of them?
Realistic.
Yeah. Realistic.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. Like, can actually be achieved in that period of time. So
yeah.
What would you say are your top 3 goals for the month of June?
Well, get the back end of the business dialed in, so I'm ready to do business.
Okay.
I need to, I have to include Belfour in there to keep my gravy train.
Of course.
Right. So for Belfour, you know, I need to finalize a red alert program in June, and I also need to get 3 jobs. This is what's so hard about it. I'm so goddamn tired of restoration. Is I could say I want 3 jobs, and I could work the hell out of my system and might not get 3 jobs. You know, it's like I don't. It's been really hard for me to get my head around this industry, sales wise.
What's their metric? What's their metric for you?
Well, that's the thing. They score, they evaluate people qualitatively to a point. Like, what's their, what kind of brand awareness and PR presence that they had at events, and what kind of activities are they doing in our market, keeping us top of mind, but also this revenue is dollars. Mm-hmm. And at some point, if the dollars aren't where they need them to be at some point, it's like, well, you're doing a lot of cool stuff, but we haven't seen any revenue. So
That's right.
So it's like, okay. So I would say, here's a metric that I know my super regional values is lots of lunches, lots of client and prospect lunches. Because he's an old school guy. He believes that drives business. And I think it does to some degree. So I would say an average of 3 lunches a week, 3 client meetings a week for June would be a recognized success.
Okay.
When I get my month-end report for Belfour,
and you've got 12 lunches in the books.
That I've got 12 lunches on that report. I've got some photos from,
What's the financial metric? What number do they want you to hit dollar-wise?
They want me to hit 1.5 million my first year, and I'm at 200,000 right now year to date, and I'm about halfway through. So I need, and the way they figure those losses is you're going to get some percentage of major losses, fires, a $400,000 fire, a $1 million multi-unit whatever, right? So, and none of those have hit yet. I've got some big commercial clients I put in the pipeline, but it's like the revenue is trailing hardcore. So yeah, I do think there's a correlation to the number of meetings I'm having. So I think it's a good target. Meetings, FaceTime with people does lead to losses or has the potential to.
So when you win a client, if they don't have any needs immediately, there's no revenues being generated?
None.
So they could sign up for free. They only pay when they use you.
Yeah. So like this account, 100 locations around the United States, that's generated in the last 4 weeks. So it's generated a $20,000 job. I've got another $20,000 job that's in the pipeline, but it hasn't gotten in the books yet. So it's 40,000 from a client that has 6 million square feet of buildings that we now have a working agreement with, but we don't get paid. It's just, it's kind of like if you signed somebody up for S3 and they were it's like you got into their inbox. You get into their inbox. If you get them to show up to an S3 class, you might get them to come to the next one, and then you build some affinity and familiarity and trust and credibility. So then potentially, when something happens and they need coaching, right? Then they become a coaching client. Then they write the $2,400 check.
Right.
That's kind of the game.
Gotcha.
But it's too bad I can't charge for my S3 though, right? It's like I'm out there, like I'm doing catered lunches for some of their property. I'm working the whole like account management, whining and dining kind of thing. But that's the other risk is I could spend $5,000 on that account over the next 3 or 4 months doing things.
Yeah.
But if 6 months from now, we've only had $40,000 in revenue off of that account,
Yeah.
I mean, that happens all over the company, but then enough reps get a $800,000 loss that it makes it all worth it. Well, it hasn't happened for me yet. So anyway, I think 12, so 3 meetings a week.
Okay.
12 for the month, I think is something I can influence that, right? I can sell appointments.
Totally.
You know what I mean?
Is there a place where they sign on the dotted line that says, yeah, we'll agree to work with you when we do have an emergency?
Kind of, sort of. Again, they're not contractually bound to use us when they sign. But
so it's kind of like, is this kind of like having a magnetic business card for the local plumber on my refrigerator? But if I don't have a pipe burst for the next 5 years or a leak, I'm not going to call the guy. But if I do need a plumber, I remember, his business card's on my refrigerator.
Kind of, sort of. Yeah. That's a simplified way of looking at it for sure. Yeah. Now I have other things I can cross sell, right? So once I have that relationship, it's kind of, it's complicated. Well, it's a door opener because in almost every case, I have to get an executive signature on that document, right? So I have to get through the gatekeepers. Like in this case, that 100 account, I had to I had to have a Zoom call with the executive vice president who reports to the CEO.
Yeah.
And he's basically the CEO of all the day-to-day operations. And so getting FaceTime with him means something, because he doesn't give that to most people. So getting that, some buy-in. So now I can email him without being a pest.
Yeah.
And I've also been tapped into his whole executive team. So now it's about me working that account, building that relationship strategically. Like, I know the director of clinical nursing. I'm in with the capital projects guy, and the EVP. If I have something that I hear that they need, I can pitch directly to him now. I'll email him and he'll read it.
Okay.
So,
okay, Chris, you need a monkey's paw.
Oh man, I feel like I'm going to get the value of our whole call right here. Tell me about the monkey's paw.
It's one thing to slap your magnetic business card on the person's refrigerator, but if they have no reason to use you, you will eventually get forgotten.
Yep.
You need a monkey's paw. You need them to give you some sort of a business and pay you for it out of the gate. What a monkey's paw is. So when somebody goes, yeah, Chris, next time we need a restoration job, we're going to call you first. Okay, you're in, but that's empty words. That's empty wind. There's nothing there.
Yeah.
You've got to get them to pay you somehow. You've got to get some sort of business. And I would recommend some sort of an assessment or something. So this is what a monkey's paw is. You know these big ships that come into dock? Do you ever wonder how they get that giant rope onto the dock and actually tie it around? I'm talking about like these thick ropes for these huge ships. Do you ever wonder how they do that?
I just figured they have a gun, a cannon, they shoot
No,
out to it.
It's something that's called a monkey's paw. It's actually a smaller, lighter rope that's attached to it. That what they do is they throw the big rope out and they throw the little rope as well. The little rope's attached to the big rope, but the people on the dock can grab the little rope, the monkey's paw, and use it to pull the big rope up so they can tie off the ship. If they didn't have that little monkey's paw to pull up the big rope, they'd never be able to tie those big ships to the dock.
That's a great analogy.
So they have the monkey's paw. You need a monkey's paw.
I do need a monkey's paw, but I can't. I mean, this is the frustration. Like when I was at Summit, I could make a monkey's paw.
Yeah.
Because because when I was at Summit, it was a independent, small, family-owned business, and I was part of the leadership. And I could say, guys, here's what we need, and here's my idea for what we build to be this monkey's paw when we onboard a new emergency services account. This is our tie-in. This is our first sale. This is our door opener.
Yeah.
This is the thing to get our first invoice. This is this thing we do, like you say, an assessment, or whatever it could have been. I mean, you can get creative, right? It's like, well, what do they need? What would be helpful? What would they pay for?
Chris, I'm picking up what you're putting down. I want to interrupt you for a second because there's another guy here locally. His name is Oliver Shoulder. He's really, really cool. He's a super nice guy. He owns a Salesforce consulting business. He knows Salesforce like the back of his hand. And when I met him a handful of years ago, he was trying to get his business off the ground. Then he started offering a free assessment for any business that would allow him to come in and do an assessment of how well their team is using Salesforce. He would then provide them with a report of what he found. Like, hey, you guys aren't leaning into this module. You should do this. You should try that. And he would give them the free assessment. And at the same time, that would let him see exactly how they're using Salesforce. So he'd use that free assessment as a monkey's paw. And it's him, and I think he's got 4 or 5 other people that are working for him. And I mean, he's killing it, dude. He's killing it. But he came up with the monkey paw, the free assessment. I don't know that you should necessarily do it for free. Although if Belfour doesn't offer like $1,000 assessment or a $2,000, where you go and look at a facility to assess their risk and.
Yeah. I need to think about that. I'm not saying there's not a monkey's paw to be had. Belfour doesn't think that way. historically in general, and this is the thing that I loved about the industry when I was at Summit, because I could affect it all. I could be like, well, this is dumb. Why does the industry do it this way? Let's do it a different way.
Right.
And it was really
Right.
fun. We could just choose to do it differently.
Yeah.
Sometimes it didn't. But I need to give that some thought, man. That's what could that offering be? I don't know yet.
Mm-hmm.
But it's all this stuff is so mundane, but asbestos work is something I could drill into, because a lot of these big companies like asbestos, I don't know how much you know about the construction industry, but like asbestos, EPA has come out with they're really, really strict guidelines now. Basically, if you've got a house from 1970s and you're remodeling your kitchen, you got to get asbestos. That's not true, residential. But if you had a resort and you're remodeling one of your units, it doesn't matter if it's 3 years old or 30 years old. Now you've got to test for asbestos before you cut into the walls and modify the structure. So that, getting asbestos tested is $500 or so to test stuff through a lab. And then if we do the remediation and pull the asbestos containing materials out, I mean, it could be a $10,000 job, depending on how big the thing is. But that's one of those things that's not contingent upon an accidental disaster.
Right.
It's just, do they have projects in their pipeline? Are they renovating many buildings right now? Gosh, I'd love to bid your asbestos abatement.
Yeah.
Maybe that's with these portfolios I'm onboarding. Maybe that's the outreach. Hey, do you have any capital projects right now scheduled? Gosh, do you already have a testing center for your asbestos test that you're going to need to run? Boy, I'd sure love to quote that for you and get you in touch with my asbestos team.
Yep.
Yeah. Huh. Monkey's paw, dude. I like that. That's a great concept. Okay. Where are we at?
As far as your goals are concerned for June, so get the back end of the business dialed in. Bell 4, you finalize a red alert program, and then win 3 new clients. And I've got a subset under that, 3 lunches per week. What does it look like for the back end of your business to be dialed in? We're talking about 3 hats.
Yeah.
What does that look like? What has to happen for it to be dialed in?
Well, that's the thing. I have sort of an unreasonable fear around this, because historically I've made a mess of my back office operations when I've owned previous businesses. It's just one of those things where I create messes for myself. So I think for me, I would really like to start well this time and just get my system dialed in terms of how to accept payments, what I do when a payment comes in, where the money flows, what bank accounts are what, and really think about it and like really make it as simple as possible so that I can just set it up right to begin with. Because I tend to be a ready, fire, aim person when I've started businesses in the past, and I just sell my way out of any problems. Well, oh crap, forgot to plan for taxes.
Yeah.
Well, I guess I got to go sell a few more life insurance policies this month to, you know what I mean?
Right.
To sell my way out of situations. And I don't want to operate that way, So just getting bank accounts dialed, a simple pathway. When I onboard a client, here's the steps I take to effectively onboard them. Here's the automations. Like, for example, just figuring out the paper form.
Yeah.
Like I think I got it dialed. Like was that a syntax thing that you put in there? Like when it says in parentheses for the recipient, your email address, that's a syntax operator, right? So it's gonna send it to the person who submitted the form.
Yes. When they're filling out the form, one of the things that you're going to want to ask them is for their email address, your email address, and it'll pull from whatever they put in there. That's where it'll send their copy.
But there wasn't, I didn't have to select any kind of identifier on that email or action. So it'll just automatically do that if you have email in the form.
It should, yes.
Okay.
But you have to make sure that your email address is actually selected as an email address. What I mean is you can make their answer recognized as a phone number, an
Oh,
address,
crud.
an email.
Oh, crud. Yeah.
Mm-hmm. So you have
I
to
don't
tell
think I did that. I think I just
Paperform.
had it as text.
So you
I
have to
think it's a
tell
text field.
Paperform what they put in here is an email address.
Oh.
Yeah. If you just put text, it won't know where to pull it from.
Let's see here.
Mm-hmm.
Oh yeah, dude. Problem solved.
Hey, if this makes you feel any better, when I went through all this, I had to figure it out on my own.
Yeah. You
Talk
should have
about
been paying
banging my
some.
head on.
You
Talk
should have
about
been
banging
paying
my head
someone
on
like
the
Tail Fun. For goodness sake, man, you should have hired a coach. Yeah. Okay. So, but that kind of thing, right? Like, I want to get the automations dialed. I want to get my forms all set up, and so that
make sure you add a signature block at the very bottom
of what?
of your coaching agreement. Make sure you add a signature.
Oh, I
block.
did. I got that set up because my trial ends tomorrow.
Cool. Because you'll have that signature block. You should have it forever.
I don't know if I'm always going to be a last minute guy. I'm totally a procrastinator. Sometimes my best work is when I'm under the gun, like my best thoughts just crystallize.
Yeah.
I don't really want to be that way, but I want to set up my business so it supports a procrastinator last minute guy, I guess is what I want to do.
Yes.
You know what I mean?
That said, you're going to have to be responsible for being present for every client. What I mean is, if somebody agrees today at the end of a consultation to work with you, you cannot let the sun set before you send them a welcome email with a link to an invoice and a link to the core values index assessment. You can't drop those balls.
Yeah.
The moment you drop that ball, if their coaching session, today's Tuesday, if their coaching session is next Monday, and you wait until Friday to send them the welcome email and everything else, you are going to come across as so unprofessional.
Yeah.
You have to be dialed in when it comes to the customer experience.
Dude, I get it. I'm just trying to hedge what I know about myself, or what I obviously that's not my best self. I want to be, but I want to hedge what I know my natural sort of weaknesses are.
Yeah.
By automating and setting things up as simply as possible, just so I can tee myself up for success, you know?
Yeah.
And so, but like when you talk about that, right? I mean, 80% of that's you've got automated. You've got those templates set up in your Jamelius, right? With the links already pre-populated in that template email, right? So it's a matter of just swapping out client name, duplicating their coaching agreement form, and then putting their name in there, right? So we got the signature thing, the link's already in the email. So you've probably distilled down a new client setup to 3 or 4 steps, would be my guess.
Yeah,
that's
pretty much.
That's what I want to get dialed. So it's like, yeah, I don't have to fret, because I've planned it. I know that I literally just have 10 minutes or 15 minutes of, I need to do these 4 items.
Yeah.
And I know in my head, because I've set it up, that it literally is only 15 minutes. That's my problem, right? If it's just these, I've got all these things to do, my brain shuts down.
Right.
And I put it off. I'm like, well, I'll do it in the morning.
Yeah.
And then do it in the morning turns into doing it in the afternoon. And well, it really doesn't matter, because they're not going to do anything with it anyways and I just start, right? And then my customer experience is shit, and I don't want that, you know?
Yeah. And it's going to, I think it's going to drive you nuts when you send an invoice and it's due at or by the first session, and they don't pay it, and they don't pay it, and they don't pay it. And the weekend comes, and you're going to be in your mind, you're going to be like, oh, did they change their mind? Have they decided they don't want to work with me? Was it something I said? Am I actually going to get this client? What's happening? Oh my God. And then like the morning of your session, they pay the invoice. Like you did this morning. No, what I mean is that's normal. That's normal. So I've gotten to a point, I've done this long enough that when I send all the welcome email and all that out, and they don't pay. It has not happened one time that somebody has said the day of or the day before, hey, I changed my mind, I don't want to work with you. It hasn't happened. It's never happened. They always pay. They always start. But I can't help but thinking, they changed their mind? I wonder why they haven't paid yet. Oh
Yeah.
gosh, I hope we're still going to work together. I really feel like I can help them. I mean, the thoughts still come, but then I
Yeah.
go, stop it. They're
Yeah.
going to come on board because they
Yeah.
never have not. You know what I mean?
Right. Yeah.
That's going to drive you nuts the first. Well, it's going to drive you nuts for a very long time.
Right.
You're going to second guess and you're going to wonder what's happening. But
Yeah.
they always start. They always
Yeah.
start.
Yeah. But that's the kind of stuff I mean is I want to get the process in place
Mm-hmm.
and just get as comfortable with that process as I can. Because I just know my.
You're right. It does take about 15 to 20 minutes to set up a new client. And then after a coaching session, it takes about 2 to 3 minutes for me to do those 4 pieces.
Yeah. Yeah. So I just need to get that all set. I guess the other, well, yeah.
So your goals, get the back end of the business dialed for 3 hats. So number 1 is how to accept payments. What happens when money comes in, get bank accounts sorted out, an outlined process for a new client. What else? For onboarding a new client. What else do you need to figure out in order to feel like you have your business dialed in?
Well, I want to have, I really want to have some resources. I mean, one of the things that I really have gotten value out of is the S3 programming that you extended to me. And, even though that was an additional fee, like there's more value in it than the $50,
Yeah. Oh yeah.
Of you, like when you said, hey, I got this thing, you want to jump in on this? Like you having this extra little value nugget to just pass to me towards the beginning of our engagement. I was like, man, that's good. I want to surprise people with value.
Mm-hmm.
And right now I don't have any curriculum or educate. And some of that's inside me. So I want to have some of that intact, even if it's just like, I have a lot of books that have been really formative for me, like a book list, like some kind of curriculum or help items that, yeah, sure. Maybe only half or less of clients will actually even open up and read.
Yeah.
But I do think there's some value if it's thoughtful,
Mm-hmm.
To have some materials, it's just some tools to point people to. And maybe it's CVI. Maybe CVI is one of those sort of things that I incorporate.
Yeah.
I don't know. I just feel like that's an area that I want to have some kind of concrete thing besides just our in-session conversation.
Listen, man, it wasn't until 5 or 6 years ago that I was just doing coaching.
Yeah.
Just one-on-one coaching, group coaching. The sales training, I mean, it's relatively new.
Oh, it is. Yeah.
Yeah. For like 9 years, 10 years, I just did one-on-one coaching and group coaching. That was really it. I just built that foundation. I'd see my clients once a week. For the longest time, it was once a week. I would see my clients and just did my thing, man. Oh, I just finished with a client. I need a new one. Oh, I just finished with a client. I need a new one. And I just kept my little one-on-one coaching practice doing this, skipping on the water, never got submerged, never like blew up. I just kept skipping along the water, just doing my thing. So the sales train, it takes an enormous amount of energy to launch something like that. And I would hope that you would really get focused on offering one-on-one coaching.
Okay.
Just start. Get that revenue coming in, man. Replace your day job.
Yeah.
And then when all of a sudden you have an extra 30 hours a week because you just
build a product
job, then start focusing on what else.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm. You can think about it all you want, but I would recommend that you get 8 to 10 one-on-one coaching clients first.
Right. Okay.
If you focus on all these other things, it's going to keep you from being able to focus on what's most important.
Yeah.
And I mean, from a business perspective, the most important thing is replacing your Belfour income.
Yep. Yeah, that's true.
Mm-hmm.
No, that's true.
Yeah, and you working with executives in the hospitality industry and eventually them paying you to come in and do group coaching and training for their staff and do like the secret shopper thing and where you're doing the app. I mean, all that can be a part of what you're doing
Yeah.
in a sense, but it just
Right.
won't be as robust or comprehensive
Yeah.
till you're getting to a place where you can go, goodbye, Belfour.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. No, that's true.
Mm-hmm.
Yes. All right. I
So
believe that.
we're going to leave the back end of business at how to accept payments, what happens when money comes in, get bank accounts sorted out, and an outline process for onboarding a new client. We're going to leave it right there for now.
Okay.
At Belfour, you want to finalize a red alert program. Do you have control over that?
Well, in so much as I can persuade people and influence people to move, like just influencing the process. Yeah, I've got two in process right now.
Okay.
And so, realistically, probably one of them will drop in June,
Okay.
if I just can keep on the process and just do what I do, right?
Okay.
So
Okay.
it's entirely possible that I'll have two come in June, which would be positive.
Mm-hmm.
But they're both really big entities, so
Okay. Hey, oh, what happened? Huh. I had an 8 o'clock. It just disappeared. We'll have to find out about that.
that,
Hey, and then win 3 new clients. But that's going to be 3 lunches per week, essentially.
oh yeah, win 3 new clients. Uh, let's just focus on the 3 lunches a week.
Okay.
Yeah. I mean, the win 3 new clients just isn't specific enough in my realm for this, because it
Okay.
means a bunch of different things. But yeah, I just need to get those 3 lunches a week, which I guess I need to start dialing in my first week of June here today.
Yeah, I'm curious to know how you're going to pull off 3 lunches in a post-apocalyptic world with physical distancing.
Well, I have two strategies. One, is some people are open to in-person meetings. Others, I've successfully done 2 of these so far during the COVID thing, where I'm like, hey, I'll deliver lunch to you,
Mm-hmm.
and then let's jump on a Zoom call, right? Virtual
Cool.
lunch.
Cool.
It was actually, that's awesome. If
Yeah.
I could do that, just stroke the credit card to Grubhub, or a lot of restaurants now are doing their own delivery for free, if you order a certain amount. And so
Yeah.
that'll be the strategy. But I don't know.
Dude, if you called me and you're like, hey, bro, I want to take you to lunch, but with this whole physical distancing thing, clearly it's impossible for us to do it in person. So if I were to have lunch delivered to your office and we could eat while chatting on Zoom, what kind of food would you want? Where would you want me to order from?
Yeah.
I'd be like, oh, yes, have this place deliver that. And I'll be
Yeah.
on Zoom at noon, dude. That would be
Yeah.
so fun. Oh my
I
gosh,
know.
yes.
It was fun. Yeah. I'm trying to think of I've had several Zoom calls, but this one, I've done one of those with an insurance agency owner, and it was awesome, man. We talked for the full hour,
That's
and
awesome.
it was total coffee chat, man. I mean, he ended up asking me about my business,
Mm-hmm.
and we riffed about disaster restoration, blah blah. But yeah, it was fun. It was great.
That's
I mean,
cool.
it's so damn efficient, man. This
Heck
Zoom
yeah.
thing.
Yeah. Yeah.
I mean, it was fun. I met with the hotelier, one of my clients last week, and I picked up lunch, and I took him lunch, and we met in his hotel lobby, because he has to be back to work.
Yeah.
That's the difference. Like, I have some clients that are essentials where they're on site anyway.
Right.
And so he puts his mask on until we sit down to eat, and and then we whatever. So
Yeah.
and that was great. But that's me. That's an hour and a half on either side of that meeting, ordering the
Yeah.
food,
Yeah.
picking up the food, driving over there, driving back.
Yeah.
Whereas otherwise it's just an hour on the phone and in front of my laptop. So
Yeah. Hey, Chris, answer this question for me. This month, I want to blank. Fill in the blank. This month, I want to June.
Well, one of the things I was actually going to come into our conversation with, and maybe we could schedule another time for it, is this month I want to hit refresh on my daily process. Because what I've been finding is in the midst of trying to do all these things and move a lot of balls forward, I've been struggling with my daily routine and really like, so I guess that's productivity or time management, which has never been a strong suit for me. It's like I'm either like that. I'm a typical ADD guy. It's like I'm either tunnel vision and I am hyper focused, or I'm the scattered monkey, you know, yakking away or throwing shit at people, you know. Like I'm moving from one thing to the next, and I'm bouncing around. It's like squirrel, ooh. And I'm capable of managing myself, but I work out every day. I work out 4 or 5 days a week. I've got that discipline down, right? Yeah. I get up at 5:30 or 6 almost every morning, and I make my bulletproof coffee. And I have some processes, but once I hit, like after my morning process, my day just kind of comes at me a lot of days. And so I wanted to spend some intentional time, maybe unpacking that with you and just kind of lining out a new process for myself to try to shift gears a little bit. Because I feel like it's limiting me. You know, I end up in situations like this morning where I'm like, oh shit, I forgot to pay bail fund. I got a meeting in an hour. You know what I mean? Like I don't want to be stuck in that hamster wheel. So so in June, I think that will support all the other things I want to do in June, right?
Okay. Well, so answer this question then. I'd really be happy at the end of June when blank.
When I get my first paying client, even just in the pipeline, like just having like either one, having a successful coffee chat where I learned something, and maybe that coffee chat doesn't turn into a consultation, but it's like, it was good and I learned something, and I'm ready for the next coffee chat, you know, or to have my first consultation, you know, in teeing up for something in July. Like that would just be a huge success to me, is to have an actual customer conversation with a legitimate prospect, and to be able to have the experience with a real client of working the process. Like that would feel like a big success.
Cool. Awesome. And last question. I also need to think about blank.
Well, I just keep coming back to my daily discipline. That to me, that's just, I think that's going to either facilitate getting these things accomplished, or it's going to take away from it, you know?
Okay. Okay. Let's do this. Friday? Friday. Thursday, 8:30?
I've got a board meeting 8 to 9. But I'm flexible on either side of that.
11:30 Thursday?
Perfect. Yep.
Okay, coaching session, daily routine, make it a Zoom meeting, Chris Nordyke. Wait, did I send that to the right place?
Let's see.
Well, I haven't sent it yet.
Oh, okay.
There we go. Bell for send. It's on its way. Okay, so Thursday at 11:30 we can pick up. And we may not go the whole hour. It might be 45 minutes or what have you, but we'll focus specifically on your daily routine.
Okay.
And I'll copy and paste what I've got here for notes for June for you, from what are your top priorities, your business priorities, your goals. This month I want to blank. I'd be really happy at the end of the month when blank. And I also need to think about blank. So yeah. Would you share with me 2 things that you could take away from the session today, Chris?
Well, of course, monkey paw, man.
Uh-huh.
No, I mean, seriously, I'm going to think through that strategy, because I've got several of these red alert clients that I've just not been able to gen much work from. And so reaching out to in fact, what's interesting is it's even potentially a different person, a different department that I can reach out to that I'm not necessarily engaged with right now, like the capital projects versus the operations person.
Yeah,
so
totally.
that was awesome. I think also it's just, the other thing, I feel like I'm leaving with just some confidence or some clarity as to what I want out of this next month, and what needs to go into that. So that was helpful for me.
Nice. Excellent. All right. Very good. So I'm going to add this to the coaching forms folder that I have in Google Drive that you've got access to. I'll add this template. There's a beginning of the month and then an end of the month. It's called first monthly coaching session template, and then last monthly coaching session template. So one thing you can do with like this new practice client, you can take him through this exercise we just went through.
Oh, okay.
And then, I mean, if you might be able to do it in like 20 or 30 minutes, just depending on like how less merchant he is. No, he's strong merchant. But some people tend to like get into it and really think it out more. Others are like, oh, I want to do this, this, and this, right? So it could be 20 minutes, could be 30 minutes, could be the full hour. For us, it took the full hour. If you do end up with extra time with him, if you go through this and you knock it out in like 20 or 30 minutes, you could ask him, hey, man, great. I've got that. I'm going to keep track of that as we work together for the next 3 sessions. So let's talk about today. Share with me 3 wins from this last week. So you could do wins, challenges, and change. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
But I'll give you this template. I'll put it in that folder today. Oh, I'll do it before noon so that you've got access to it and you can use it with your first, because you already did your first session where we unpacked. So you have 3 more sessions with him.
Including today, yeah.
Yeah, okay. So you could do that. You could make this your first monthly, or you could just practice wins, challenges, and change with him. Either way. But I want to give you another tool that you can use.
Okay, awesome, man.
Yeah, all right. Good. All right, Chris, if you need me, I'm here. Reach out. Otherwise, I'll see you, if not before Thursday, I'll see you on Thursday.
Yeah, awesome, man. Okay, have a great day.
All right, you too. Bye, Chris.
Bye-bye.